Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Inshallah, we proceed with our lesson number 30. In this lesson, we're going to explore the demonstrative pronouns, which are also known as, in the Arabic language, they're called Ismul Ishārati or Ismul Ishārati. So, and we'll understand the construction related to that a little bit more in this lesson. Key thing to note is that these are part of the definite nouns. So pronouns were also definite. Ismul Ishāra is also a definite noun. And the implication of that is on sentence structure. On mubtada, if you recall, mubtada we said predominantly is going to be definite noun, and khabar in a nominal sentence is going to be, generally speaking, an indefinite noun. So when these nouns come, they now give you this sort of clarity and as to how and where they would fit into the sentence structure. So these nouns are of two types. One is for indicating to something that is near, qaribun, right? So that's Ismul Ishāra lil qarib. And the other one is for distant. When an object or person or someone is distant, then it's for ba'id. So it's a different set of nouns that are used there. And we're going to cover all of those inshallah. So let me give you that. I have a table here that I will transfer, and we'll fill this table out so that we understand what the nouns are. So this one, first we're going to focus on the qarib, the near Ismul Ishāra. So let's carry on with that. Inshallah, I'm going to make them all. So remember, the red were those that were different, and then the greens are common. So here most of them are red because they're different between masculine and feminine, but plural is not. So let's go into this. Singular masculine, the first term that comes here is hada. And for feminine, it's hadihi. This means, so here it would be this. And then in the dual case, there are two. So you're familiar. There's the influenced and the uninfluenced condition. The uninfluenced, generally we're saying, is marfu, and the influenced will be majroor and mansub. And you can just remember that. So I'm going to use now more and more marfu, majroor, and mansub terminology, because that's the standard, and all of you should be familiar by now through the various lessons, inshallah. So having said that, let's go to the next dual case here. So here it's going to be hadani. And for feminine is going to be hatani. And then in the majroor and mansub, in the influence condition, it's going to be, for masculine is hadaini. And for feminine is going to be hataini. So this is a lesson I haven't covered yet. We talked about sound plurals and the dual cases that we made in earlier lessons, and I only gave you the uninfluenced condition where we add the alif nun zaidatan, the additional. You can review the previous lesson on the dual nouns there. Inshallah, I will do one lesson where I will give more examples of this, but here it's come in how the hadani, alif nun, changes into a ya nun in the influence condition. And you can apply that to any dual noun. So hadaini and hataini. So the ya nun, the alif nun is replaced with the ya nun. And so so this is how it's going to be, kitabani, kitabaini. It all kind of follows the same pattern. Inshallah, but we'll do a focused discussion on that a little bit later. And the last one for the plural, so before I go there, This is also this, of course, but this is going to be for two people, right? Or two things. And this again is for the same two. And here, plural is going to be, I'm going to make that green because it's common, it's هؤلاء. Okay, هؤلاء. And it means these for three or more. Okay, so that's the the near noun, and the distant one we'll cover later, which is again a table similar to this in the next lessons. But I want to give you an example of this, inshallah. So let's move into an example, and we will take a common example with some of the terminology we've already used, and that is going to be, let's say, هذا بيت. And the translation will be, this is a house. Now, the terms here are called, I want to write them down here for you. هذا is called the Ismul Ishārati. That's just some Arabic terminology for you to keep in your mind as you come across the term in the various books. And baytun here, so whatever is coming, what the hada is referring to, is going to be called musharun ilayhi. Okay, and this is Ismul Ishārati. So notice something here. The Ismul Ishārati, we said, is definite. And musharun ilay, which is the one that the Ismul Ishārati is pointing to or indicating towards, is here, you guessed it, it's indefinite. Now, when you have a definite and indefinite noun coming together, refresh your memory, this leads to a mubtada khabar construction, because mubtada we said is definite and the khabar is generally indefinite. So here we can call this definite as subject and indefinite as predicate. And that's another thing, by the way, I'm going to do, is start shifting towards the Arabic terminology a little bit, because now the correlations in the English language are known to you. So inshallah we start getting familiar with the Arabic and use it more commonly. So this is mubtada khabar, and therefore when you translate it, you're calling it, the translation is going to be, this is a house. This here comes because of this mubtada is the nakira, and the is coming because of the mubtada khabar construction, right? That's inserted. Go back to the compound discussions, and inshallah you will be you can refresh that there. Now, another way this Ismul Ishārati comes is, as I'm going to demonstrate to the left here, is هذا البيت. So let's go through this example. البيت. So again, let's go through the construction here. We call this Ismul Ishārati. And this is musharun ilay, that which is indicated, that is being indicated. Okay, now notice something here. Let's go through this word here. Is it definite or indefinite? Well, hada is Ismul Ishārati, its demonstrative pronoun we just said is definite, so that's definite. Al-baytu is definite or indefinite? It's definite because of the alif lam and no tanween here. So now you have two definite nouns. Now these two definite nouns will not be serving as mubtada khabar, but actually what will happen is both of these two definite nouns will actually form the mubtada. So the mubtada will not be just one word now, but it'll be actually combined with these two words of Ismul Ishārati and Musharun ilay. And the way the translation is going to be now different is you're going to say this house. Okay, so you see how Arabic demands focus, and there's subtle changes that are happening in the construction that's leading to this difference in translation. So understand the difference. One is mubtada khabar construction, the other one is just serving as mubtada, and then it'll have its own khabar coming after it or whatnot. So that's something we can see now. Here is the two difference. Now if you were to add a khabar, all you would do here is you would just say hadal baytu, and I'm just adding that as because it's missing a khabar, so you can see this construction can take place is kabirun, which means big. So, and it's also here indefinite, right? This is indefinite noun. So now it can serve as khabar, and then the sentence could be this house is big. Let me correct here. This house is big. Okay, so inshallah, hopefully this is of use, and you have seen how the variation in the musharun lay being definite and indefinite changes the translation. So inshallah we will have the discussion, and there's more associated discussions related to this of in terms of gender and the number. So if it's singular, if it's masculine, if you're pointing to a masculine thing, then the Ismul Ishārati will be masculine. If you're pointing to a feminine thing, it'll be feminine. If you're pointing to something singular, you will use the singular, and so on and so forth. But then there are some exceptions which I'll go through in the next lesson, inshallah. Okay? Jazakumullahu khairan. May Allah make it easy. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.